RedChip TV presents the New York Equities Conference from the NASDAQ market site in New York City.
And RedChip Equities Growth Conference. And as part of this event, we're doing a number of TV interviews, live presentations on our live webcast, and radio interviews as well. We're the TV portion here on RedChip TV. I'm pleased to introduce to you today is Jim Joyce. He's the chairman and CEO of Aethlon Medical Inc., and that symbol is AEMD. That's traded over the counter. And Jim, welcome back to RedChip TV.
It's a pleasure to be here, Brad.
Yes. Now, we've had a number of interviews, and I'm always excited to hear about the company. For our viewers that are maybe hearing about Aethlon for the first time, tell them what the company does.
Sure, Brad. We've created the first therapeutic device that is able to selectively remove viruses from your circulatory system. Has very broad implications in infectious disease. It's going to be very meaningful to the drug industry to be able to enhance the benefit of drug therapies in hepatitis C, HIV, and a broad spectrum of other viral pathogens. And now we've recently discovered applications in the cancer field. The exciting thing is over the last decade, we've taken this from being just truly a theoretical concept to being a reality in the clinics, and we're now on the cusp of starting our first commercialization.
Well, you said some big things right there in that brief statement. You said from the blood you're taking out, or you're filtering out HIV and hepatitis C. Here, paint the picture exactly what's going on here.
Well, we've created a mechanism that can selectively remove viruses and other proteins that kill off immune cells from your circulatory system. Historically, in therapeutic filtration, whether it's dialysis or plasmapheresis, historically the approach has been to remove things from blood by molecule size. When you do that, you have limitations because you're removing particles from blood that you need for health. Right. So this is really a revolutionary advance that really changes the scope of how this can be applied. We now have a mechanism that can be applied into large-scale major market disease conditions that previously therapeutic filtration was somewhat barred from participating in.
Now, how does the selectivity work? That's interesting.
Well, it's a two-step process. First, we gain access to the bloodstream, much like in dialysis in the patient. Then the patient's blood is pumped through our cartridge at very rapid flow rates.
And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a cylinder, a cartridge, right?
That's exactly correct. Our cartridge would look very similar to a dialysis cartridge. It's about a foot long, 1 5/8 inches in diameter. Right. And when blood flows through the cartridge, blood flows through approximately 2,800 hollow fibers that run through the center. The pores of all those fibers, or the walls of all those fibers, are porous in nature, and it allows particles in the range of viruses and immunosuppressive proteins to separate outside of the fibers, and then once they separate outside of the fibers, they are then bound by affinity agents that bind almost irreversibly to these glycoproteins that sit on the surface of the viruses, regardless of species or strain of virus. And then other particles that were not selectively binding get flushed back through the fiber walls and back into the normal circulation. So each pass-through of the blood through the cartridge, we're reducing the body burden of the virus. And in conditions like hepatitis C, it's already proven that you can have a significant impact on cure rates in hepatitis C if you can just use these types of approaches right at the outset of therapy to accelerate the benefit of drug regimens.
Well, that's a key thing. So a lot of these patients on hepatitis C or HIV, they're on a drug regimen. You're really the boost for that, aren't you?
Well, we look to extend and enhance the performance of drug regimens. Certainly a vast majority of viruses that are known to be infectious to man, most people would be surprised to hear this, aren't addressed by drug or vaccine regimens. So that is certainly an opportunity, and we work very aggressively in Washington, D.C. related to the use of this technology against bioterror and pandemic threats. But when you look at chronic conditions like hepatitis C, the vast majority of people that are infected, this is 180 million people worldwide, don't respond to the 48-week drug regimen. It's a very toxic therapy. If you don't respond, you inevitably need a liver. And if you don't obtain that liver, you're going to die. That's just the truth. Sure. So in our case, we look to accelerate the benefit of these drugs. And it's now been proven that viral filtration, even at moderate levels at the very beginning of drug therapies, can take patients that previously failed these drug regimens and all of a sudden get 70% or greater cure rates. This is a remarkable statistic, and it will change, we believe, the way people in hepatitis C are treated. It'll also change the way that drugs are able to impact because of the benefit we can provide by accelerating the drop of viral load in the beginning. In HIV, the vast majority of patients that are infected with HIV, even those that respond very well to their drug regimens, eventually become resistant to those drug regimens. And once patients become fully resistant to their drug regimens, there's no mechanism to be able to allow them to manage their disease. This provides that mechanism, and recently in our first HIV patient, we demonstrated that in the absence of any drug therapy, in an AIDS patient, not just an HIV-infected patient, that we could reverse progression of the disease and enhance the response of the immune system in the absence of any drugs.
Wow.
So again, what do the patients, then this is the largest opportunity in HIV, because inevitably almost every patient becomes resistant to their drugs.
Right. We're visiting with Jim Joyce. He's the chairman and CEO of Aethlon Medical Inc. That symbol is AEMD. That's traded over the counter. And Jim, I've followed this now for better part of a year. So you've had some milestones along the way here. Tell our viewers, is this market ready? What stage is this?
This is a stage where we're getting ready to move into the clinics in the European Union and the U.S. But we've conducted numerous clinical studies at leading research institutes in India, at the Apollo and Fortis hospitals in India. The individual that leads our program in India is the former president of Boston Scientific India in Southeast Asia. And in India, we've been given permission or confirmation from the government of India, the Drug Controller General, that our device does not have oversight provided by their regulatory agency, and that we are free to import our technology for use into hospitals and clinics where the technology is approved by an ethics review board. We're in the process of doing that.
Right.
The blocking factor is establishing what's called good manufacturing practices, which is a global protocol. It's something that's required by the FDA here in this country to be able to export our technology for sale and use in other countries. We intend to do that in the near future. Last year we spent a great deal of time and effort establishing our GMP manufacturing protocols. We completed those protocols at the end of the year and initialized our first production run of our hemopurifiers under GMP. And hopefully in the near term we'll talk about the completion of that production run, which at completion we then have product that we can start exporting for sale into the Indian marketplace, which I point out is not just the marketplace to treat citizens of India. This is a marketplace that's become the global hub for medical tourism.
Right.
And in that regard, patients from around the world, whether it's the United States, European Union, Australia, can travel to India to receive care. And if they know that this can have an impact, a significant impact in enhancing their likelihood of having a successful response to drug regimens, we believe that patients will travel. And even though we're not a very high-profile company, one thing that doesn't show up in demographic studies is the magnitude of patients that already contact us on a regular basis, asking us where they need to go.
Right.
The magnitude of clinics around the world that ask us, can we get involved in this? The magnitude of distribution companies that would like to get involved in bringing this product to the marketplace. So it's truly an exciting time, especially for those shareholders that started participating in our company when this is just all theoretical.
Right.
And they've seen us progress each and every quarter of moving this towards the market.
It's been moving right along. Again, Jim Joyce, he's the chairman and CEO of Aethlon Medical Inc. That symbol, again, is AEMD. That's over the counter. And Jim, as we wrap it up here, it is an exciting time for the company. Give our viewers 1, 2, or 3 reasons why right now might be a good time to consider owning the stock.
Well, it's not just the verge of commercialization. I think that we have established principles that now will be broadly accepted. We're not a very high-profile company, but I think one of the things you would look at is, have we established the basis or foundation that will lead to large-scale partnerships? And if you believe that, that is a real value driver for the company. And something that I have consistently said over the last, over a number of years, is that we expect to partner with larger organizations, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to enter into a partnership that gives up ownership or rights to our technology. And in that regard, I really challenge people to look in the universe of small cap or micro cap public companies that ever commercialized a therapeutic in the cancer or infectious disease space that along the way didn't give up ownership or rights to their technology as a means to commercialize, and that usually costs shareholders value down the road.
Right.
We have not done that. We don't intend to do that.
Well, there it is. Jim Joyce, again, Chairman and CEO, Aethlon Medical, AEMD over the counter. And Jim, thanks for joining us on RedChip TV.
My pleasure, Brad.
Right.
Nice to see you.
This report is not a recommendation or solicitation to purchase or sell any security, nor does it constitute investment advice. Visit RedChip.com for full financial disclosures on RedChip clients.